The first order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Nick, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Any citizen comment cards? No, sir. We have no comment cards. That portion of the meeting is closed. The meeting minutes from the November 20th meeting, have you all had a chance to review those?
I move to approve.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. I think Nick had an announcement, an important announcement to start the meeting with as well.
Yeah, I have a very important announcement. Guess whose birthday is tomorrow? It's not mine. Should we look down look at that. You see the red face?
We promise we won't sing. Just wish him a happy birthday when you get the opportunity. Happy birthday, Rick.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rich.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Nick.
Sure.
Deserves a free text rail ticket. Reed said no.
And the first information item is the agency update, fiscal year 23, and performance and goals for 24. Richard Andreski.
Okay. If we could tee up the presentation. So this is an opportunity to report out on how Trinity Metro is doing, and we are a very goals-oriented organization. We've had a great 2023, so really happy to share with you some of the highlights from 2023 and a little bit about what we're looking forward to in 2024. Thank you. I want to thank Nate Newby from our marketing communications team. Nate, you're not in the room, are you? Okay. Yeah, Nate and team did a phenomenal job pulling this together. It's a great way to highlight, very engaging, and that's on our website right now. So if anyone wants to go back and watch it again, please do. I'd like to run through a presentation to give you a little insight about what's going on at Trinity Metro. And we'll start with, do I have control or you've got control, right? You've got control.
Chad has control.
You That's right, Christine. All right, so before I joined Trinity Metro, the leadership team here had developed, with the board's input, 4 principal goals: increase support for transit, educate our community about the benefits of our services, provide an outstanding customer experience, and maintain a positive organizational culture. And I'm really pleased to say that we're meeting these targets in a variety of ways. Getting people on transit is not, it's fairly straightforward and starts with providing a great customer experience. And so we focus first on our team, making sure our team has the resources and development opportunities to be successful in their roles. That starts with wellness, engaging them frequently, strong culture of communication. We focused and leaned in on training and development across the organization. I'll highlight, for example, one group that very often is overlooked in large organizations, that's administrative staff. So we even have programs that we've implemented here to help folks from all backgrounds and job classes get the training that they need. Jessica Powers and her team are doing a phenomenal job on safety culture. We're really moving the needle. You'll hear some of those results. Focusing in on customer experience and then quality assurance. It's not a slogan. It is how we think about our service. Drilling down on issues and recurring issues and making sure those issues are addressed and no longer become an issue in terms of providing service. I'm particularly proud of how we are building relationships in our community. When I joined Trinity Metro 18 months ago, I set about to make sure I touched base with our elected officials, sat down with business leaders, had over 130 meetings at this point. And it's sort of a mind-boggling number when you think about the community that we serve. I've done that with many of you at this dais in your support, and I thank you for that. Our leadership team is also on 10 boards throughout the cities. Neighborhood associations, business improvement districts. And we meet regularly with city council, mayor's office, and city staff. And I'm really particularly proud of this. Not necessarily a quantitative measure here, but certainly very important to our success is the support of our stakeholders. I'm going to go through our goals. We set 5 goals as a leadership team, and the board approved these goals. And I want to report out to you how we did. I'm going to come back on that one. So professional development is goal number 1. We committed to sitting down with every Trinity Metro employee to get their input on their career aspirations. So this is beyond the typical, what training do you need to do to be successful in your current role, but rather, what do you want to do in the future and how can we help you get there? The goal of leaders, in my view, is to make yourself replaceable. And that goes for our leadership team and myself, including myself. These are some of the questions that we asked, and and I won't go through them all in detail, but short-term, long-term goals, what do you consider your strengths, and where can we help you in terms of your individual development? So we have these documented plans. I love the hat. It's all about the branding, Michael. And so we now have a roadmap for each individual at Trinity Metro in terms of what we can do to help everyone develop themselves and then grow. Ideally, this will help with retention, but we recognize that high potential individuals may leave the organization, and that's okay. We really do want people to be where they want to be, and if that means moving out, that's okay. And I got to tell you, this was hard work. Kelly Shields and her team working with our full Trinity Metro team, and this goes to the bus drivers as well, right? The frontline workforce. So this is everybody. And I got to tell you, in our industry, talent comes from lots of different places. So this is something that I think will help us in the long term to be successful in terms of bringing new people into the organization and then moving them up. Ridership. There's a red X next to this goal. Let me just tell you how proud we are of this red X. 98.4% of goal. Now the goal, one of the conversations we had with the board last year was whether these goals were really reach goals. And this tells you, yes, in fact, they were very much a reach goal. The final calendar quarter of 2019 was a high ridership point in history. So the fact that we achieved 98.4% of that this year is a testament to the teamwork. And Melissa Chrisman and her team had this score sheet. Every day we would come in, and days when it didn't pop up on our screen first thing, we'd all be asking for it. And this was the way we tracked ridership. And it was a whole series of tactics that we used to get there. It was great customer service to start. It was improving our service quality, frequency on some of the bus routes, for example, during the year. We increased frequency on the number 25. It's clean service, clean vehicles, really just turning out. But we had our free fare 40th, and that really drove the numbers. Our free fare month was a near-term record for us, and you'll see that what is encouraging is that this trend line, although there's a lot of ups and downs in the graph, you'll see a very decisively upward trend line that's unbroken to this point. We've added 1 million riders in 2021, 2022, 2023. So each year we've added at least, I'm not rounding up, we've added at least 1 million riders every year. And in 2024, in the first 3 months, we're on track to do that again in 2024. So really pleased. We're also seeing TexRail lead the way in terms of gains. TexRail reached all-time highs with an all-time monthly high of 83,000. 83,000, for the first time, TexRail had more riders in 1 month than TRE. So a really significant milestone given that TexRail is only 5 years old. So we're really heartened by this, and we're going to continue to work and continue to hope nudge that trend line higher. And we'll get into a number of ways we're doing that. Ridership on other systems, we continue to lead the state compared to other transit agencies. So we'll continue to report on this, as Chad says, until that trend isn't a trend anymore. New partnerships. Oh, by the way, on ridership, we are no longer going to be comparing ourselves to pre-COVID ridership because we are now back. Trinity Metro is back. Our ridership is now exceeding COVID levels, and so we'll continue to focus on growing ridership, but no longer going to be talking about COVID. New partnerships. Goal number 3 was to bring in new partners. We do business a little bit differently than our friends to the east. We don't require cities to join Trinity Metro as a half-penny sales tax member. So what we are open to doing is partnering with cities that want us to provide service, and we'll customize that service based on budget availability, right? So we have 9 city partners right now. We're really proud of that. We added 2 in 2023. We added Forest Hill and Mansfield, new zip zone partners. But we're really proud of the way that we've crafted these business relationships. We're here to earn the business. It is important that we have our core city of Fort Worth participating as a half-penny member. That gives us long-term financial stability. But adding new partners through new relationships is something that we're all about. And thank you, Alicia Walker and Wayne Gensler, for being there on the first day of service in Forest Hill. And we want to continue to stay close to our 9 partner cities to make sure that we're delivering and meeting their expectations for service. We had goal number 4, which is a value proposition study. You'll get a full briefing on this from Chad Edwards, but really what I wanted to highlight here is that there's a 2.5 times return on every dollar invested annually. So our program right now at Trinity Metro generates about $344 million of economic impact on an investment of $137 million. So great return on investment, and remember, every dollar that's invested is mobilizing somebody to a job opportunity, to educational opportunity, and those dollars from our employees are reinvested in their neighborhoods and communities. So a really smart way to invest. To say also the obvious investments that come along with transit, which is economic development and transit-oriented development, and you can see that in Richland Hills and Grapevine in particular. Again, more on this study to follow. And goal number 5 was safety culture. Now, safety culture is lots of little things, lots of little behaviors that add up to safe operating practices. And we have really, I want to give Jessica and her team a lot of the credit here. This is it's very challenging to tackle culture. And culture requires persistence and a sustained focus. But what we found is a willingness across the organization here to talk about safety and to be honest with us in terms of where we were performing and where we need to improve. When these numbers were first reported to me, I knew we were doing well, but how well is something to be celebrated. On our fixed route safety events, we were down 28% in preventable collisions. 28% overall, with preventable collisions down 20%. On the access side, injuries were down 56%. Safety events were down 27%. Preventable events were down 25%. And total preventable collisions were down 25%. Now, in the world of safety, I've been in this business almost 25 years. These kinds of numbers are practically unheard of. It tells us a few things. One, it tells us that there's a commitment and a willingness in the organization to really get into safety and understand the causes and begin to drive down those numbers. But number two, it tells us that there was some low-hanging fruit here potentially for us, and that each level of improvement going forward will become increasingly challenging. But we are up to the task. We're going to continue to engage employees through ride-alongs, safety walk and talks, safety stand downs, which is when you take a moment away from your day-to-day job to talk about a safety issue. And safety is more than a slogan, and it's something that each and every one of the Trinity Metro team members is embracing. So that means, that means challenging up and down the chain of command, right? So that if a supervisor, a manager, or an executive team member is present and we see unsafe behavior, it's up to each one of us to call out that and say, wait a minute, let's do the safety briefing. Or I don't feel, every employee's challenged to say, look, I don't feel safe doing this activity. Let's take a step back and discuss it before acting. I'll wrap up by saying we completed or convened 11 safety committee meetings during the year. This is a chance for employees to come together and talk about trends and issues. And one of the ways you get to an improved safety record is to tackle each of those trends individually and come up with tactics that get to the heart of why we're not meeting the safety goals. So more to come in 2024. Oh, one more comment on this is we've retained, thanks to this board's support, we've retained a safety consultant to help us drill down and look at best practices in the industry and make sure they're being applied here at Trinity Metro. Okay, looking ahead to 2024. This is in your packet. We have 5 goals for the year. Number 1, continuing to work on employee engagement. We had some great responses to an employee survey, but I have to tell you, I was humbled to see some of the areas for improvement. Employees do feel enabled, but what we're hearing is that we have a lot more work to do on communication. So these goals individually, what we set here is a 10% improvement goal, but focusing in on these key performance indicators, building trust and confidence in leadership, strengthening communication, and maximizing employee enablement. One of the things you'll see in this packet is a new 80% goal. So we are talking about best practices around leadership goals. And many industries apply the 80% rule, which is you always want to meet your goal, but if you're moving in the right direction and you get most of the way there, we want to acknowledge that. So that's why on some of these slides you'll see an 80% goal. Ridership, we're going for another 1 million riders added to the system. That would represent a 14.7% increase in ridership. I got to tell you, I'm continually impressed by the fact that we are having success in bringing people to Trinity Metro. And I'm not going to get into this here, but one of the surveys that we did recently showed that 1 out of every 3 Fort Worth residents have used rail service, Trinity Metro rail service. So although we On any given day, we might have a much smaller number of residents using transit. The fact that 1 out of every 3 residents has tried Trinity Metro Rail is showing the value of what we do. We're going to continue to work on partnerships. We have 41 municipalities in Tarrant County and only 9 currently participating in Trinity Metro. We're going to continue to work on that. We would like to bring 1 new partner on, and for any community partner listening to this meeting, just know that if you have an idea, a concept you'd like to explore with us, we are open to it. We are very often a cost-effective way for you to provide value in your community, and that can include things like bike share. So we're rebooting our bike share program today. You'll hear more about that. If you're interested in bike share, reach out to us or any other service. Goal number 4, our transit campaign. You've heard us talk about this at recent meetings. We need to think more holistically and comprehensively about where Trinity Metro is going, and that is already underway in the form of a value proposition study, in the form of pollings. But what we're going to be doing this year is a robust public engagement campaign. So we're going to be out in the community, and we're not only going to be out in Fort Worth, we're going to be out throughout Tarrant County. We're going to meet with folks where they live and work. We're also going to have virtual options, and Chad and team are gearing up for that. It's a very multifaceted, very strong, something unlike we've done recently. So you'll be seeing us everywhere throughout the region, and we're hoping to get great feedback in terms of what people want and hope out of their transit system. And that will really set us up for a strategic plan that will include new innovative services, continuing to lean into the successes that we have here at Trinity Metro, but looking to explore new ways of delivering service. And safety will continue to be a focus for us. We've set a goal, and we saw that great improvement last year. We've set a goal of 10% this year. You heard me mention previously, these gains become more challenging as we continue to move our targets closer to 0 injuries. So 10% is we feel, an aggressive goal, and we'll continue to engage our workforce on this. This is not a top-down measure. This is something that we're going to be focused on, a bottom-up, middle-out. What I would leave you with here is that the state of this agency is very much in the hands of our capable workforce. We are only delivering these results because we have everyone across the organization engaged and committed to what we're doing. And that shows up every day, and I'll highlight that. It's in my remarks. I'm just going to mention the winter weather. This winter weather this weekend just showed how everyone was ready to pitch in. Really, without any prompting, the team came together, had a plan for the worst, hope for the best, and we got through the weekend successfully. You'll hear more about that later, but I just want to say this is an incredible organization. I'm proud to have an opportunity to lead as CEO here, but the successes here are really a credit to everyone at Trinity Metro. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you for any comments or questions.
Wow. Okay, where do I start? Do we have any comments from anyone? I think it's incredibly refreshing.
Congratulations.
To have this 2023 report and some opportunities, and I think challenging is the right word for 24. We've done so well in 23. All those goals are going to be challenging is the right word. I'm really proud of what everybody's done. I'm proud of the board and letting this happen. These are important milestones that we crossed in 2023. We think about COVID and a lot of the agencies that haven't recovered and are going to struggle recovering, which is good. And it's not just because I'm chair-timing what we've done. It's just remarkable because it's shown up there today in the ridership and what we've done with the family, the executive team, the drivers, and everyone from the administrative staff. I'm grateful to be part of it. I've said before that I've been on many boards and commissions, on the city council, before any of y'all were born. My greatest pleasure is being on this board and doing kinds of things that just team has been able to accomplish. I'm busting it, but I thank you, Rich. Any other comments?
I'll say thanks, Rich, appreciate it. I have enjoyed being on this board, have enjoyed being on this board with you, our conversations we've had and echoing some of the things that Jeff has said of just having an open dialogue and us getting, because I said this, I think, when I came onto the board, I think we all have the same goal. It's sometimes how we get there that we disagree with sometimes, but we haven't been disagreeable. I don't want to insinuate that here. But I've appreciated having this dialogue and figuring out how we can get to that win-win through the obstacles sometimes we have to work towards. And I think we're doing that, and I appreciate you letting us being involved in that process. Thank you.
You have an answer. It's called more transit. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just have a comment. I wanted to also thank Rich and the entire team for all the vision that you have and for the work that you've put in. I think that one of the things that I know we talked about when you first came on board is I felt like sometimes we worked in silos, not just this organization, but as a whole, the city. And I think that you're showing that you're doing a lot more outreach, and we're looking at things more collaboratively, and I think it's showing in the success we've made. So congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Nick, did you have something to say about ridership?
7.8 million this year.
Yeah.
That's 8 times the size of our city.
I think we have a consensus.
And just final comment, just thank you for the partnerships that you and the team continue to build. I know from talking to the mayor at Forest Hill that they're really happy with their service. She's disappointed because it takes up a lot of her time because a lot of her residents want her to ride with them to Walmart, but it's a price she's paying for it. And I saw Mayor Evans last week at the RTC, and he's excited about service coming to Mansfield. Really excited and very appreciative of the hard work that the team has done to make sure that they get off the ground flying. So thank you all so much for all you do out there, and I know we've got opportunities in other communities to go. So thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the exciting, thank you, Regional Transportation Council report. Who's giving that report, Rich? I'm giving that report.
Unless you want to.
No, it's a meeting I have to attend. The last month, this is interesting, actually. Y'all have heard of high-speed rail. The political will is somewhere for high-speed rail, and somehow the RTC is taking the lead. Private sector has kind of lost its way. The public sector otherwise has kind of let things go. And so now the RTC wants to take it on. And last month there was $1 million study approved by the RTC to take and study the current iteration for high-speed rail from Dallas to Fort Worth. And I'm just going to estimate it $15 billion. Everybody wants it, but it's a large number. And we're still looking for the political will of the private sector. But what somebody forgot was the Dallas City Council raised a question about if it's going to be at grade or under grade from Arlington to Fort Worth. We want that from Dallas. Now, they haven't studied this for the last 5 years. And it's not at grade or under grade from Dallas to Arlington. And the council member said, we studied it, we refused to go along with high-speed rail unless it's underground. So, I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but they're, at the last meeting, Michael was there. As he should have said, he's studying it. Mr. Morris said he'll study it. And oh, by the way, in the meantime, he's going to stop 5 major Dallas projects from moving forward while he studies it. The other item we talked about was this regional technology corridor and data hub. I asked Chad this morning what that meant, and I think both of us after the meeting, and he goes to some other meetings as well. We're not sure what that means, but it's federal funding, so we'll just try and get more technology, and I'm all for that. I'm just not sure what it is. What does affect us, though, is we're looking for some final dollars for the extension of Tex Rail into Mistletoe Station. And so we're going to be looking at getting a raised grant for that extension, and if we can locate that $40 million in some fashion, if everybody rolls up their sleeves, we'll finally get that funding, because that's a critical project for our communities. So that's the RTC reports. We'll move on to commuter rail. Reed.
Well, good afternoon, board members. I'm Reed Lanham, the Vice President of Rail here at Trinity Metro. I'm going to give you a brief but pretty exciting commuter rail report for the months of November and December. We had a very exciting end to the year on both the TRE and Tex Rail. I'm going to start with TRE. I just want to point out, if you guys remember a few years ago, we were struggling with our reliability on TRE. Rich touched on the ridership gains we've gotten, and a lot of our views is, from a rail operations standpoint, first and foremost, we have to offer a safe and reliable, clean, enjoyable option for transportation on the rail side. A few years back, TRE was struggling on the reliability side of the house. In November and December of last year, TRE finished at 98.5% on time and 99.2%. And for the past couple of years, they've consistently been over goal of 97%. And that's a massive testament to the team out there, the way they operate and push for the best. And we're seeing gains in ridership on TRE. It may not have jumped like Tex Rail has, but over the last quarter, in the last quarter of FY23, we were first quarter of FY24, we saw a 4.6 increase in ridership on the TRE from the previous year. So again, we're really excited about the things we've got going on TRE. We're working closely with our friends at DART to enhance the TRE experience with some new equipment and overhauling some of the existing equipment to, again, offer that best experience possible to our customers. Now, moving on to Tex Rail. Rich touched on this earlier, but November was our record month. Now, we had the free fare 40th, so kudos to Melissa and her team and Wayne's team. I mean, they're the folks that get most of our passengers to the train, so without them, we couldn't do this. But 83,071 riders in the month of November with an on-time performance of 99% on Tex Rail. So that's absolutely extraordinary. Drilling down a little bit deeper, we had the tree lighting in downtown Fort Worth. Our previous high in a day was around 4,500 passengers. We had over 5,000 passengers come into Fort Worth that day for the tree lighting. And that was spectacular. But that was a shortly lived record. The very next day, Grapevine had an event downtown, and we hit over 6,000 passengers in one day. So we did back-to-back 5,000 and 6,000 rider days, which was huge for us. So the Fare-Free 40th was an awesome event. We roll into December, which is historically our highest month. You know, the holiday season, our friends at Grapevine and all their wonderful festivals. But December, we didn't offer free fares, and we still came in at 82,492. Our previous record, the year before, was at 64,000. So we added almost 20,000 riders with no free fares or anything like that. So again, there's a lot of very encouraging and exciting things going on the rail side. And it starts with our people, like Rich mentioned earlier, the guys out at the EMF, all the improvements we're seeing on TRE, the guys out at the MMF. We've got a great team, and everyone's focused and moving in the same direction, and we're looking forward to what 24's got to offer. Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, I want to hit long-term parking too. So you've got a couple sheets in your booklet that cover our on-time performance and ridership. It breaks it down by station as well for both railroads. But I wanted to touch on long-term parking now that we've had it in place for a year. This is something we get a lot of positive feedback from our customers. And you can see the total numbers. This was for November and December, but we ended the year just under 3,000 transactions for our long-term parking. So the program has been a success. we're going to continue to drill down into those numbers and see where we can expand, where we need to adjust a little bit. But that's something that we can offer and will continue to offer going forward that our passengers really enjoy.
Reed, I think it might be worth mentioning TREAC has called an emergency meeting to discuss with DART, Trinity Metro and DART making a commitment for new equipment and some updated equipment.
Yeah, it's correct. That's one of the priorities that we've got in the short term here is improving the equipment on the TRE. And to Charles' comment, we have an emergency TRE advisory committee meeting that's been called to continue to push that forward. So that is something that both agencies are committed to and looking forward to.
Reed, a couple of comments. First of all, this increase in ridership, didn't it happen about the same time AJ left?
No comment. No comment.
Don't tell him that. But you can tell him. I want everybody to understand that this evolution of on-time performance with TRE occurred because AJ and Reed jumped in with both feet. We were nulling trains. The on-time performance was well below 90% in many, many months. And we weren't in charge of that organization at the time, and we're still not in charge. We've got a great partnership with DART. We have a wonderful things going at TRE. But this evolution is primarily because of AJ and Reed and that on-time performance and safety. And I think you all stepping in when you had to step in has been a real feather in our cap, and I'm grateful.
Mr. Chairman, Vernal Houston is in the audience too. Vern, okay. He's a Trinity Metro, our Trinity Metro team member over at TRE. I want to thank you, Vern, for your contributions as well.
Yeah, to that point, Chairman, I've been here 9 years now, and here recently, we've got the best working relationship we've had between the two agencies. It really is a teamwork type environment, and like I said, the team out at TRE, they've done a phenomenal job with what they have currently, and then working towards the improvements. It's been a real team effort. So, thank you.
I've got,
Go ahead, Tito.
go ahead, Ben.
I promised I'd only say one thing today, so I'm going to use it right now. So if there's anything that this board can do in support of the TRE and the DART partnership and all of that, either a letter or a physical presence or just side saddle to something awesome y'all are doing, please reach out to me and anyone else, especially Michael Crane. He's bored. If you saw his post this week, he was home the whole week and didn't do anything. So anything we can do to support that, y'all are, you're doing great with what you already have. I can't imagine how much more we can do.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we appreciate that.
Just on long-term parking, I'm glad to see that our NRH residents are taking advantage of it. And I get asked frequently about the safety of the parking. Have we had any issues? I know our police department cruises through the parking lot pretty frequently.
We have mobile patrols as well with our security force that traverse the entire Textrail corridor, going into the stations, going through the parking lots, along with a good partnership with the local PDs. So, no, we have not seen issues at the Smithfield or Iron Horse parking lots per se, and that's something that we tout to our customers as well, that it is safe and secure. They're 24/7 monitored with a very nice camera system, as well as the periodic patrols. So.
And a couple more things, sorry. Ben's time. Yesterday I was on Textrail, come back from Grapevine for a late lunch and had the opportunity to ride in a car with 8 American Airline mechanics. They may have been the same guys I rode with last year after the little ice incident. They were so appreciative again at the fact that Textrail ran, they were able to get to work without having any issues on the roadway, so thank you. And my third comment, since I'm taking another one for Ben, is I saw that Text Factor episode on Sunday. Have we shared that on our Facebook and our website? It must have been from last year or sometime, because Sarah was the conductor on Textrail, and she'd only been there 6 months. I know it was a pretty old episode, but Mr. Personality there, Reed, was on there, and of course Rich. And it was a great episode, and I hope that we're out there putting it on Facebook and our website. Great, I mean, TRE, TexRail, great information, so.
I've pinned it and share it weekly on my personal page, so I'm just kidding.
And I got one of your T-shirts, so thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne. What operation?
Good afternoon, Chairman and board members. Glad to be here, and if I have problems hearing what you're saying, it's because I got a clogged ear for some reason today, so I'm not trying to ignore anybody, just letting everybody know what's going on. Not old age, it's from fluid. And Rich, 50 is only a number. Hey, Reed, thank you very much. I love following up behind you. You know why? Your success is all of our success, so great, congratulations. So I just have 4 items I want to brief you all on with regard, it should be on page 33 of your packet of the 55. And anyways, I want to talk to you a little bit about, first off, Route 25. Unfortunately, I didn't get the right screenshot for you on the graph, because I did it and I thought I was successful, but apparently not. But you can see that blue line at the bottom, the light blue, is above the darker blue, which is the Route 25 and the Route 5 that I want to talk about. But if you all remember drawing a better connection, Trinity Metro identified additional routes that we considered high-performing routes that would be improved by increasing frequencies. One of those, if you recall, was part of the suggestion, was Route 25. That's an important crosstown route for Trinity Metro. Along with planning, we put together a plan to increase frequencies to 15 minutes recently, and we made that implemented in October, if you recall. And the minute we implement it, I guess I say the next day after we implement it, ridership started increasing significantly. And quite frankly, in the month of November, and of course it was fare-free, it was 30,000 rides in a month on Route 25, when typically in the spring, summer time, it was around 16,000 rides. But anyways, it increased approximately 15% over the Route 5 in October. And so we saw immediate results. Very proud of that. We knew that was what would happen, and I think it leads us to where we're headed in the organization. That is, take our operation where we have the best potential to improve our service, improve our frequency, and give the customers what they want, to make a new system where we're going to increase the ridership to 7.8 million. I'd say 8.1 million maybe. But we're working hard at that, and that was a true win for us, and I very much appreciate everybody getting together, working together, operations, getting enough drivers to make sure that we'd service it through HR and the training department. So thank you very much. Next important piece of information is the second bullet that you see there, and that's talking about utilizing data to really right-size our fleet. We all talk about and have seen many times, and I've heard many times, you know, we're utilizing buses that are too big or empty, or run around empty in the city, and really what we're using today is data. We're looking at data. I have a spreadsheet provided by the planning department. Thank you very much, Chad. And we look at it, and you can tell by looking at peak ridership what we should have on a fleet. If you know our fleet, we generally have a few articulated buses, which are 60-foot buses, and the vast majority of the buses are then 40-foot buses. We have a couple 30 and 35-foot buses, and there were the battery electric buses in the Molly. So that was our fleet, and that's what people would see. But if you would look at it today, based using the analyzer, and I got some numbers just to give you an example, our fleet really would consist of 11 Arctics, that's with spares, 15 40-foot buses. Again, I told you the vast majority of our fleet is 40-foot buses, 69 30-foot buses, and 44, I'll call it Transit Connects and or Dodge Ram vans. So that's really what the data is telling us what our fleet should look like. We are setting it up so that we can use this data. It's going to take some time to implement this program because we have a fleet that we already purchased. They're purchased utilizing FTA dollars, so we have to let them live their natural life, which is 12 years for a big bus and 7 years for the cutaway buses. But as we drop off or ridership changes, we'll be able to be flexible in purchasing what we need to purchase. But what you'll see in the very near future is us coming to the board and asking for a purchase of the Ford Transit or Dodge Ram type vehicles for the van type service vehicles that we plan on utilizing, and then other smaller buses. We have a new route, or not a new route, the Route 15, I'll call it at the moment, that we purchased 35-foot buses that you already approved. So that's the beginning of the process of changing over the fleet. We're very proud about that. We believe the data will support what we're doing with our fleet, and we really believe that'll right-size our fleet to what we carry and what our future needs will be. The next conversation I want to have is, many of you might be sitting here saying to yourself, well, when are we going to hear about the on-demand service? Because I told you last board meeting prior to December that we would come back in January with a recommendation. But I also said that if we have great responses, which we did, we had 3 great responses, we're going to have a presentation starting next week with the 3 companies. They were all quality responses to the RFP. So we think it's really the right thing to do is to have these presentations before we make the decision. And in February, we're going to come back to you and provide that recommendation for on-demand service. But just a little bit about that. Another service enhancement will be to provide consistent on-demand service to our Zip Zone riders and our paratransit community. We will move to a model allowing Trinity Metro customers to utilize the on-demand service as they see fit. Customers can call to pre-schedule services or request trips using our GoPass app to schedule a same-day trip. It will be a leap forward in providing all on-demand customers with consistent and singular service to our community. Service will be customer-focused, increase productivity, and help lower the overall cost per ride by increasing each vehicle's productivity daily. We're really excited about it. Again, we had great responses. We look forward to the presentations by the companies, and then we'll come back with our final recommendation to the board. And last but not least, you heard Rich talk earlier about safety. Safety really is extremely important when you're in the transportation industry. You could ask anybody in the transportation industry. Safety's got to be your number 1 core value. Safety is a critical component of success in delivering service. Safety is mission critical and gives our customers confidence they will be safe when utilizing our system. We will continue to follow the 3 E's of safety: evaluation, education, and enforcement of our policies. The results below show the successful start of our fiscal year. Everyone at Trinity Metro is focused on providing the safest, most reliable service possible. As you know, we are having our safety system evaluated by our safety consultant in conjunction with our safety team. As we evolve as a safety-oriented transportation team, we expect to continue to have management commitment, employee involvement, work site safety analysis, hazard prevention and control, and safety and health training. I look forward to continue to provide essential updates through our journey of implementing best practices in the safety improvement program. And in your packet, and it says 35 of 55, if you could turn there, it really gives you the results of our first quarter. They're tremendous results. You heard Rich say earlier, great results last year, and I will tell you, since joining the organization over 5 years ago, those results were absolutely stunning. We had good results the 4 years prior, but last year was tremendous. And the beginning of this year, we are really hitting it and doing a great job. And if you look at page 35, and I don't know if you can get you can't. Okay, it's page 35 in your packet. You can see the result. Huh? Oh, mine says 35. I'm sorry. Page 40 then. You'll see the results of fixed route. You can see where it says total number of injuries, 1 in December, and the following number is down. But the results are better than last year's year-end results, first quarter. Very proud of those results. And if you could flip back a few pages, you can see Access is doing absolutely the same thing. They're really hitting a home run. They're all basically zeros, and we're just really tremendously doing a great job in safety. So thank you, everybody from ops to safety to everybody doing everything they can to make this a better place for our employees and make it safe. That's the end of my report. If you have any questions.
I just want to compliment Wayne. I had a question this week from the North Fort Worth Alliance of Neighborhoods, and they're already thinking about public transportation to the new city hall and to the city council meetings. And I don't think 2 or 3 years ago we were on their radar, but I think we now are on their radar. And Wayne will make that contact for us, and we'll work something out.
Yep. I did leave a message, so
Good.
I did contact a person. All right. Thank you.
So,
I didn't realize we left that up here with you. You know, you never know, they've got it working so seamlessly over there. Well, that means if I mess it up, I'm really going to be on display, aren't I? Mr. Chairman, you want me to just go ahead and jump right in? Okay. Good afternoon, Trinity Metro Board of Directors. I'm Melissa Chrisman, Vice President of Marketing and Communications. Something you have heard every presenter talk about so far was our great ridership in the last 3 months of the calendar year, which I think we've all kind of contributed to a little promotion you've heard us call the Fare Free 40th. So I thought it would be worthwhile to spend some time on that today, share with you some advertising samples, and let you know kind of all the success associated with that campaign. You heard Rich say we got to 98.4% of our ridership goal, and I think we all echo his comments that I think we're all really proud of that goal, even though there was that red check mark just told us that there's lots of opportunities moving forward, right? So the information about the campaign can be found on pages 43 through 46 in your packets. I do want to start out with our commercials. I'm going to kind of rely on Brandon over there to help play these. What you're going to see are 2 15-second commercials, but they're lumped together into 30 seconds. I'll try to let you know when the second one starts. Start of the second one. If we want to play it again, I wouldn't mind. I love it so much. And I paid Ben earlier, but he was dancing in his seat, so thank you for doing that for us. As you can tell by the commercials, we really wanted to throw a party. We were really all about celebrating our 40th anniversary. We had hats on board our vehicles, we had confetti sprays, which I love, and of course the upbeat music. So we really wanted to invite our customers and potential customers to join in our anniversary party, and better yet, it's a party you can come to for free. So those commercials that you saw and heard were on Spotify, YouTube, and then some various streaming services that you would have seen on your TV at home. So on the next page that you can see here in your packet and on the screen are just other advertising samples and where they were found. So we were in Culture Map Fort Worth, we were in Fort Worth Weekly, and there's a sample of the Fort Worth Weekly publication that was left with each of you. That's something that we're actually really, really proud of, because if you'll notice, we have the whole publication wrapped. So Trinity Metro is the front cover, Trinity Metro is the inside front cover, Trinity Metro is the inside back cover, and we are the back cover. So really a lot of exposure with that audience, and we were really, really proud of that. We had billboards, we had digital ads. I mean, we really pushed out this message quite a bit. You heard the success in the ridership, right? But this campaign yielded not only those incredible ridership results, but we had some really, really good marketing metrics. So I think, Reed talked about text rail ridership. I know Chad's going to talk a little bit about overall ridership. Rich talked about ridership. So you'll hear more about that from what you haven't already heard. But in regards to the marketing metrics, our advertising during the month of November, these ads that you see right here, were shown more than 11 million times. So think about all the people that had an opportunity to see Trinity Metro advertising. We had a 96 completion rate on some of our video. And so what that means is that when that video popped up on people's screens, 96% of people who saw that video actually watched them until the end and didn't click to stop them. So that means that our message was really good and people were interested in watching. And then throughout the course of the campaign, our digital ads were clicked on just under 30,000 times. And that's 30,000 people that are clicking on that ad because we've got their interest, and that means they're going to our website to potentially plan their trip. So overall, very, very successful. It was truly a team effort with the entire marketing and communications department, but really truly headed up by Glenn Miller, Director of Marketing, who is here. Glenn, nice job. And so, I really can't give enough kudos for the group. We saw great success, and I think it was a really, really successful campaign for Trinity Metro. So just a couple of things that aren't in the report that I'll bring up. I did want to bring up that we are about halfway through our train naming contest. If you follow us on social media, you cannot miss the train naming contest. And this was thanks to an idea that Tito brought up several months ago. We just decided to package it with the Tex Rail 5th anniversary of coming into service. So we launched it this month. We'll run through the end of the month. And boy, if you are on Facebook, the comments and the shares and the engagements that these posts have gotten on social media have really been incredible. And to date, we are up to right around 800 submissions. Now, of course, some of them are duplicates, and we'll work through all that, but that really is a truly great response. And then really the other thing that we're working on that you'll see here and there is, if you have not already gone, we have kicked off the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and Wayne's team worked really closely with the rodeo group about making sure that people could utilize transit to get there. And so I would encourage you, if you are going to go to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, that you would pick up the Dash and make it a seamless trip and avoid the hassles of parking. And that concludes my report. I'll answer any questions or take any feedback.
That's a great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm Deidre Whitmore, VP of Community Engagement, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. So you might have noticed that you didn't see the employee recognitions on your agenda today. We have decided to present those on a quarterly basis. So the next presentation will be in April. But we also will hold this opportunity to, welcome new employees, new staff, and also the accomplishments that our staffs have as they come to us. So with that being said, I would like to welcome 2 new employees to the community engagement team. First is Jamie Terrell. Jamie, would you stand? Jamie is one of our new transit envoys. Jamie is retired from American Airlines. And, he said he always wanted to work in a position where he's connecting with the customers. He was in IT. How different. So 2 fun facts about Jamie. Jamie spearheaded our Easy Ride program at American Airlines. So he took it upon himself to make sure all the American Airlines employees who were interested were signed up for Easy Ride so they could get their transit passes. He also is a volunteer to help keep up the rail car at Fort Worth Central Station. So the 100-year-old rail car that we have, he's one of the volunteers that make sure that car is up to par. Thank you, Jamie. I'm looking forward to working with you. Now I'd like to welcome Ms. Lenore Kimbrough. She actually will officially start on January the 22nd as our Community Engagement Program Manager. Glad to have her. Lenore comes from operations as a supervisor, and as we were interviewing her, we could see the energy. I said, wow, someone that has the same energy that I have, that's awesome. And then the passion that she has for serving our customers. So we're looking forward to really having a fantastic year this year. Thanks, Lenore. Now, if I could ask you to turn your attention to page 48 for the Community Engagement Report. So we're seeing great improvement from the team on responding to our customers. Our calls for holding spiked up a little bit in November. Why? Because we were partnering and everybody wanted to be a part of what we were doing. So they were calling and flooding the phones in the call center. But the team managed. When you see the yellow, as you look at the graphs, in yellow that shows that we need improvement. But they really bounced back in December, when the calls kind of calmed down a little bit. We're still above where we want to be, but we're doing really good in the white. So we're at 2.7. And our goal is still and will be 1.5 minutes that our customers are on hold. So moving to complaints on page 49 per 1,000 in access. As you can see, the complaints went up a bit in access, but they're not doing bad. I mean, we know we have some work to do, so we're going to work on, with access, putting together a campaign like we did for operations. Operations is doing fantastic on their complaints. Their complaints are down. They're keeping it in the blue. And what happened last month or the last quarter, we noticed that more complaints were about rude drivers. So we put together a campaign to remind our drivers to be nice to our customers, welcome them, say thank you, and the complaints went down on that side. So what rose to the top this time were pass-bys. So now for the second quarter, we will have a pass-by campaign reminding the drivers, please be vigilant of what you see at the bus stops. Make sure you pay attention to customers who may be standing out of the cold, out of the wind, away from the bus stop sign, because we do ask our customers to stand at the sign. But when it's cold, they kind of stand behind buildings or whatever. So we'll remind our drivers to do that, and hopefully that will decrease that pass-by complaints, and we'll see what happens next. But that's one of the things that we want to continue to look at when we're trying to increase and improve the customer's experience. How can we look at our numbers to show that improvement? And Mr. Chairman, that is my report.
Yeah, I know that we want to decrease the wait time. I'm curious, do we let the customer know how many people are waiting in front of them, or how much time they might have to wait?
No, we do not, and that's a really good question. And one of the things that we want to, as we improve the experience with our call center, when we put together our new program, the CRM system, when that comes on board, those are the things we're going to look at of how can we help communicate to our customers that there are other people on hold. But at the same time, when we're talking to our customers, we don't want to tell them, I'm sorry, I have to answer the other line. We have to be vigilant on how we communicate that to our customers. Thank you.
Good afternoon. That's it? That's all I got? Okay. It's cold, I know. We're already an hour into this. Okay, I'll go fast. You have two information items on page 50. 51 is the general planning consultant update. And then I just noticed on 51A, there's a World Cup planning update that I'll go over here in just a moment. The general planning consultant, there's a table behind the information item that lists all the projects and tasks that we're working on right now. Some of these, at the time of printing, these were the ones that were being worked on. 2.7 is done. We had that public meeting on Trinity Lakes Station last month. It went really well. We had 30 people online, and we had about 12 to 15 people in person with some staff. So I think it worked out really well. I do have a report I can share with you and email to you if you're interested in that as well. Rich mentioned the transit value proposition, task number 3. We're wrapping that up, putting final touches on the final document at this point and the fact sheets that we have. So as soon as that's done, I can share that with you. I have two options. One is I can just share at a board meeting the update on the transit value proposition. But the other option is that we really work it into the board retreat later on. and so where we can have a little bit more opportunity to discuss all the details of that later on. I think that's the preference that I have there, is to work it into the board retreat. Task order 10 is our fare collection task. This one is wrapping up as well. This is some really good information where we've been providing updates to the executive leadership team on the progress of the task and the information that we found, and I think we're getting to a point to where we can share with the board at this point as well. Item number 12, TexRail Historic Bridge Resource Investigations, we're wrapping that up as well. And then the last one, task order 16, is a staff augmentation. This was a kind of a stopgap for us before we found Jana Pimentel as our project manager. We needed somebody in real quick to kind of fill in the gap. HDR and GPC was able to do that. Now that Jana is on board, that task has ended. So this list may look a little different when it comes to you next month because some of these are going to be rolling off. The other item I have is World Cup planning update. I wanted to just give you a heads up on the numerous meetings that some staff have been in on the World Cup. It's included North Central Texas Council of Governments. It's included Trinity Metro, DART, DCTA, City of Arlington, TxDOT, and there's probably some acronyms there I haven't remembered because there's been so many people in these meetings. The idea is that obviously we want World Cup regionally to be super successful, and we want to be able to participate and help in that success where we can. Ideally, we would focus a majority of our resources here in Fort Worth so that those who are staying here in Fort Worth have the best opportunity to get around and to get to all the different activities that are being planned and have yet to be planned, because apparently there's a lot of things that are going to be going on. The COG, they're trying to pull in and organize all of the different agencies to be successful in Arlington. And so we're trying to figure out how do we support and help where we can and as needed. The COG has identified probably at least 5 items that I've listed here as far as funding and opportunities to make this series of events successful. First is Centerport Station upgrades, where there's going to be a lot of people who are accessing Centerport Station, and it needs a little TLC and an opportunity where a lot of trains could be coming in and dropping off people at Centerport. We need to make sure that signage is right, lighting is right, it's painted, it's clean, it makes sense on how you move around in that particular area. Reed, I think, mentioned the TRE train upgrades and replacements. I think Rich had mentioned those as well as far as opportunity there for grant funding. Enhance TRE rail service. This would be potentially 30-minute headway all day instead of just the peak periods, so that we can get people to and from the station before and after the events. Transit passes and Go Pass app integration. These are ideas and funding opportunities that the COG has identified. And then the more controversial one is dedicated bus lanes at this point. So we're really trying to figure out how we're going to be able to do that, working with TxDOT to provide those dedicated lanes. There's some planning that we're doing at Trinity Metro. Again, enhanced bus service here in downtown Fort Worth. Could be longer span of service during this time frame. We could have as many as 8 different games, and from what they're telling us, this could be the same size as a Super Bowl each time. They still haven't determined where the final game for World Cup is going to be, but they're hinting that it might be here in North Texas. So we definitely don't want to miss that opportunity if we have it. And then again, the 30-minute service all day. I'm bringing this to you because there's requests from COG on how we utilize our service. We want to make sure that we focus our service where it should be, and we're balancing those requests from the Council of Governments on how and to what level we can support them. We're doing some calculations on our end about what capacity is for TRE versus opportunities for charter buses, how many buses we have available at any one time during peak period, and what kind of reserve buses there might be available. I know Wayne and I are working together on that, trying to figure out, what could be the option. In addition, as we figure out what this capacity worksheet looks like, we'll be sharing it with DCTA and DART as well, so that they can do their analysis to figure out how they can support on from the east side there. So just as a heads up, from time to time, I'll come back again and give you a heads up on where we are with World Cup and what those requests are. And if there's any action items at that point in time, I'll make sure that we have that on the agenda appropriately. A couple other items before I leave. There are going to be some route changes for the Trinity Lake Station when it opens up on February 19th. That will occur at that point in time. We are planning a ribbon cutting, excuse me, after the actual changeover from Richland Hills to Trinity Lake Station. And as we finalize that date, we'll get that out to you. On January 9th, there was a council workshop presentation on the East Lancaster Transportation Plan that Kelly Porter had provided. Michael Morris from the Council of Governments was there. Rich Andreski and I were there as well in support of that particular project. It was well received by City Council, and they will be doing will approve the locally preferred alternative on the 23rd of January, which is a week from now. And then lastly, everybody keeps talking about all the ridership information that I will provide, but they all talk about the ridership information that I will provide. So I'll just do it as a very high level. We had last month in December 633,949,000 rides. That was a 20% increase December over December. And so as you heard in Rich's presentation, the 2 million number we had in the first quarter was 25% more when compared to that of last year. So we are doing very well. We're well on track to get to the 7.8 million. I'm encouraged with where we are today. So just as a reminder, you can find all of this information on the performance measures on the website. It's a link at the very bottom of the webpage, and that information is updated monthly so that you can see that. And that will wrap up my report.
Trinity Lakes, February 19th.
Yes, sir. I feel pretty good.
Chad, can you give us a really brief overview on the double tracking of TRE, not just this project, but moving forward?
So the double tracking, we do have, as you probably saw in the information item, task order number 5 is our TRE double tracking project. And this is to get the design up to a 30% level of design so that we can then bid that out. We have almost completed that 30% design, and basically what it is it's in the same area as the Trinity Lake Station. And so it's not to complicate and build project on top of project, but we had started Trinity Lake Station, and the Council of Governments had worked on a build grant to where they received $25 million for double tracking projects on the east and the west side of the region on TRE. Basically what this double tracking project will do, it will add 2 miles of double tracking to 2 miles that are already there. And so it'll end up having a 4-mile section of double tracking in the Richland Hills, Fort Worth, Trinity Lakes area. And so this is really be from the double tracking will be from Hanley-Etterville east over to Precinct Line in Fort Worth. And so this will really help with future expansion opportunities of TRE and allow for those passing sightings in the future.
How much more do we have to do to finish the double
I think it's another 7 or 8 miles that we have on the western side. About right, 7, 8, 9 miles, something like that. Depending on how many bridges, there's a lot of variables there, unfortunately, but yeah. So.
Chad, just a quick comment. This 5 Cup's a pretty big deal. I remember going to Arlington a couple of years ago, trying to get some kind of extension from the Lancaster corridor for BRT back then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's low-hanging fruit. And, both Texas Rangers and that with Rich and Mayor Ross. And I think it's a brilliant idea to have that service into Arlington. And after that meeting, silence is the operative word about what they might have suggested to us. But it sure would have been nice to have that BRT going from downtown Fort Worth and the 5 just buses so many people as we could hold. I think it's not being missed by some folks.
Mr. Chairman, on the FIFA question, I just want to make sure you heard us loud and clear. We are going to roll out the red carpet for visitors here in Fort Worth. We're going to have great services. We're going to, it's an all hands on deck moment for Trinity Metro. So we're prepared to do that. What we are not prepared to do, and this is what I want to make sure you hear, is we are not prepared to take resources dedicated here to our community and reassign them to serving an event in Arlington. We are certainly open to conversations with Arlington. We want to continue to extend that hand, but our first priority is serving our customers here in Fort Worth and our other partner communities.
We're trying.
Agreed. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Greg.
Thank you, Chairman Davis, members of the board. I'm Greg Jordan. I'm the CFO for Trinity Metro. I'd like to draw your attention to page 53 to present the November financials. As we begin the report, I'd like to just sort of call out the obvious, which is this report has a different look and feel from prior reports you've seen. And just to give you sort of an overview and walk through real quick, you know, we have revenues at the top, and then we move into expenses below. The expense categories generally represent the same categories you've seen in the past. But when we move left to right, we first look at fiscal year 2023, or the prior fiscal year. We have the year-to-date performance, the total year spend for FY23, and then we get into FY24 where we show the year-to-date performance, the full FY24 budget. If you remember in past presentations, that budget look for the current year budget has been somewhat prorated based on where we are. So if we were, you know, fiscal month 6, it's roughly 50% of the budget. This gives you a 100% budget look, and then we give a forecast for 9/30, and then we show a variance. Now, given the fact that we're just 2 months into the fiscal year, there's not a tremendous amount of data to work with. So as we move forward, right, the model gets refined a little bit more and gets a little bit more dialed in as we get closer to year end. But I also want to say that this is an iterative process, right? This is the first look at a new reporting style. This is generally how I would expect for us to present the budget to you later in the year as well. But we do want to make sure that these reports have as much value as possible for you. So we're very open to commentary and feedback so that we can make these as valuable as possible. So moving into the data, again, we're just 2 months into it. The revenue update for 2024 as of November, we're currently projecting revenues to exceed the budgeted level by about $1 million. Now, this is primarily due to sales tax coming in slightly higher than we'd originally anticipated. The total revenues are budgeted at $320.4 million, and we're currently projecting $321.4 agency-wide. Collections for sales tax year-to-date, we've currently collected about $20 million year-to-date compared to $17 million by this time last year, so that somewhat speaks for itself. On the fare side, right now we're projecting fares to come in at budget, even though you can see that when we juxtapose 24 to 23, there is a variance there. But as we've heard, the ridership continues to increase, and so as we gather more data moving into the rest of the year, we'll dial that in and refine that a little bit more. On the expense side, we have a total operating budget of $154.7 million. We're currently projecting $153.1 million, or $1.5 million below the expenditure budget. Looking at fixed route, the year-to-date performances, we've currently spent about $6.5 million, and we spent $5.9 million during the same time period last year. So we're projecting about $1.5 million overage, driven primarily for personnel costs. We generally see this as reasonable compared to the data to date, as well as last year's performance. Access is also trending slightly above budget. As with fixed route, we're seeing this primarily due to the personnel costs. Nonetheless, we're still within about 2% of the projected value for 9/30, comparing back to FY23 total. TRE has a projection of just about $16 million. Budgeted level is 17.3. So seeing some savings there, as well as the text rail side, projecting 29.7 compared to a budget of 31.5. Across both lines, we're projecting about $3 million below budget. Bike share, we're seeing a slight savings projected for 9/30 at roughly $20,000, and this is very much in line with last year's performance, projecting $988 versus $721, which is what we actually spent in '23. General and administrative areas, $49 million projection compared to 49.6, so yielding about $600,000 in savings there. And then overall, our cash flow continues to be adequate to serve our needs. We currently have about $60 million in the investment pools. And in summary, we're trending to about $2.3 million more favorable than budget. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, happy to refine this and dial it in a little bit more. Again, it's just 2 months worth of data. So
Love the new format.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
How about sales tax? Is that a projection just times, year-to-date times 12, or is it actually where you sat down and said it's going to be 9%?
Sure. So this is what generally when I forecast based on a seasonal look, right? So sales tax goes up and down, and we can normally tell with pretty accurate pinpoints where our high points in the year are going to be and where our low points are going to be, right? So picking on Grapevine, for example, Grapevine has 4 peaks, right? They've got the back-to-school peak, they've got the Christmas Capital of Texas peak, there's a spring break peak, and then there's a June peak for the summer vacation months. So their peaks really sort of dovetail with the different activities that the city has, as well as the fact that it's a city that caters to tourism. So we see those levels there. But more specifically, to answer your question, what we'd do is we'd look at the current performance this time last year. So assuming that we collected 20% by this time last year, remaining 80%, I would then take that 80% and forecast based on where we currently are, under the current assumption that we've already collected that 20%.
Do we consult with the city on that?
No, not generally. I would just like to remind you that I spent over 4 years in the city's budget office, and so my methodology is very consistent with their methodology. So, but also when we were in the budget process, looking at their numbers and then my forecast, they did what I really expected them to do, which was laid right on top of each other. So our numbers are consistent with theirs, and I'm fairly confident that the projections would be. Well, we're growing, and we're very fortunate in this part of the state, so it is a definite blessing.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Greg. Oh, is it Gregory now? Is that what we're doing?
Well, actually, what Greg and I decided, he's the new and improved Greg, and I'm the old Greg, so.
I can relate to that.
Read this whole resolution.
No, thank you, board members. Rich, happy birthday. But if you will look in your packet on your agenda, and if you refer to page 55, there's a resolution in there. Following on page 56, there is the Trinity Metro investment program. So just as a little bit of history, real quick, the board typically approves this at least annually, present this to you for your review and your comment. So what we're doing today, it's been approved last September. We're updating our policy to conform with the Public Funds Investment Act. On page 61, we have updated that slightly to conform with commercial paper A1P1, which is a very standard product of the investment pool. So really what it does, it puts us in line with the Public Funds Investment Act, and it'll help our yield a little bit. So as we increase our results from receiving grant reimbursements, we'll increase the yield on that without taking any additional risk. So that's what we present to you today for approval. Any questions?
This is a resolution that we need to be voted on. Do y'all want an hour presentation on investment policy? No? To approve.
Second.
Thank you very much.
We have a motion to approve R2024-02, the Trinity Metro investment policy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Greg. Marie. We'll go into the action items. The Enterprise ERP Managed Services Contract. Okay, Bruce.
Hello, everybody. Bruce Lewis, Vice President of Technology. Y'all haven't seen me in a while. It's not a bad thing. So it's IT stuff, so you need to get a drink or stretch your legs. Now's the time to do it. Please turn to page 68, Board Action 2024-07. One thing we like to do in IT is always have a smooth transition no matter what we do, so it's seamless, transparent. We don't chop things off and turn things on. It gets very ugly. This board action is actually our J.D. Edwards financial system, so you can imagine how important that is. So our vendor KS2, their contract was leaving us, and we brought a new vendor in, ERP1, and last year was our big year of our match project. We have the year-end budgets and things, all needs to go nice and smooth. So what we're doing is we extended the KS2 contract out so it would dovetail into the new ERP1 contract, so there'd be no chop off, there's no who does what, who does this. It was a nice, smooth transition. So that when one finally went away, the other ones were ready up and running, logged in, systems were tested, IDs were tested, everything was ready to go. This is what this board action is talking about, is how well we did that, and it was actually went quite well, seamless, no big hiccups or things, and nobody knew it was when. Just one day it was gone, one day we were here doing another one. So recommendations is Trinity board member, the board director authorized the president, chief executive officer to amend the contract with KS2 Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $59,200 for a total not to exceed $290,450. Any questions?
Any questions about this action item? Motion.
Excuse me, sir?
It says with the term ending October.
Yes, sir. As we dovetailed it in, theirs slid out in October. The other ones slid right in and kept on going forward. One thing we do in IT is we don't pay anybody until it's all closed out and everybody's happy and everything's signed off. We've got away from paying up front, paying ahead of schedule. We literally drag it to, you're done, finance buys off, IT buys off, Rich buys off, and then we start cutting checks and things. So we make sure it's all taken care of.
Move to approve BA 2024-07.
Have a motion.
Second.
A second, Paul, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Bruce, just as an aside, Bruce, y'all did a great job when we were hacked years ago. My company, First American Title nationally, was hacked. I'm not supposed to say the word. It really is a problem, let me tell you. When you've got $1 trillion worth of transactions to do, no matter who you are or where you are, Let's just keep the pedal to the metal, and whatever we can do to make your job easier, let us know.
All right.
Okay, Vice Chair.
Thank you. I am Kelly Shields, VP of HR. I'm really excited to present this board action. If you will turn to page 70? 69. In your packets, I'll go over BA 2024-10 Fort Worth Bike Share System Renewal and Expansion. Fort Worth Bike Share started in 2013 and then was brought under Trinity Metro's umbrella in 2021. If you look at ridership, everyone else has been talking about ridership, I get to too. Since 2013, Fort Worth Bike Share has provided 673,000 rides. This last year, we did a little over 75,000. So it's just grown tremendously. With Fort Worth Bike Share being part of the Trinity Metro system, not only is it recreational, but it's also another option for the first mile, last mile connection. So as Trinity Metro grows, Fort Worth Bike Share needs to grow and stay current as well with the latest technology and equipment. Our current system is antiquated and is no longer being supported by B-Cycle. So we went, submitted an RFP. We had 4 submissions. After review, we chose PBSC, Urban Solutions, Inc. as the best fit for Trinity Metro. PBSC is headquartered in Canada, but they have several U.S. locations, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Pittsburgh, just to name a few. Our director of Bike Share, Sean Toubray, went out, actually talked to some of those sites to get feedback on how they were performing and got nothing but glowing reviews. So we feel comfortable going in that direction. If approved, our plan is to get with the marketing department and do a big relaunch campaign. So we're really excited about that. So therefore, I would like to recommend that the Trinity Metro Board of Directors authorize the President and Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with PBSC Urban Solutions, Inc. for a 3-year contract with 2 additional 1-year options. The proposed agreement cost is $3,385,000 with a 10% contingency of $338,500 for a total not to exceed amount of $3,723,500. Is there any questions?
Are we at the table for the city council to get more dedicated bike lanes in the next bond election?
We are. Sean has been meeting, I think you met with Kelly Porter just recently. This Thursday. So yes, we are at the table.
We need more dedicated bike
We do.
lanes. Walking and biking are 2 of the best ways for first mile, last mile. We're doing really well in our zip zone, beyond my expectation, but zip zone can be expensive. Walking is okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, keep working on the bond issue. You've got some council members here that need to hear you, because we need more bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes.
And I don't know if you all saw it. I know Michael saw the bike in the back because he's already ridden it.
I rode
but-
it.
Yeah. There's bikes in one of the sample electric bikes are in the back. We're going to get, 80 to 90% of those are going to be the e-bikes because that's what everybody wants. So go back and take a ride.
I'm super excited to make a motion to approve BA 2024-10.
Second. And a second. There we go. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much, Kelly. Everybody likes bikes and trains. Okay, we do have a president's report. Oh, employee benefits, Kelly? Sorry, you left too soon.
Consent?
Listen.
Yeah, we still have 2024-12.
No, that one does, but he was going, we have consent item.
We're skipping 2024-12, but we're passing
Right.
over that. The CEO suggested we move that to the next meeting. And then we do have a benefits program, Kelly.
Well, this is consent, so
Yeah.
unless you want discussion.
Okay, is there any discussion on the consent item? No, that's good.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, how about a president's report?
Right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members, Trinity Metro staff, and members of the public. I was told North Texas, this is when I was coming down to visit you all, that North Texas doesn't have seasons, but it sure feels like winter to me. The cold spell without ice this time had everyone at Trinity Metro on high alert. Our operations team took the lead by coordinating with all departments last week, well in advance of the frigid weather. We had a plan to keep personnel safe, vehicles and buildings in service, with backup plans for snow, ice, and loss of power. Our new ice fighting equipment was tuned up and mobilized. Thanks to their efforts, including our hardworking frontline team, our services ran as scheduled with only a few scattered delays. The building systems at HRP could use some work, though, and I want to thank our bus shop team for bearing with us as the furnace was offline for several hours. Although it is running now, we will prioritize further building repairs in Trinity Metro's capital program to avoid such situations in the future. And last week, I had an opportunity to sit down with Mayor Mattie Parker. She was generous with her time and very interested in what we have going on at Trinity Metro. I shared with her our ridership records in '23, great work we are doing to improve services. We spoke about what is ahead in 2024, including Trinity Lake Station, new bike sharing, new Trinity Metro on-demand services, new Stockyards bus service, and continued progress on the Texrail Medical District Extension project. She encouraged us to continue to innovate and think boldly about our future to support the city's goals. And, in this note, Mayor Mattie, I'll just point out, was extremely interested in how she could help us be successful. So offered to help in a number of ways, which I won't get into here, but it was just a really great meeting overall. I want to thank the mayor, the city council, thank you, for, of course, our two board members, Michael Crane and Chris Nettles, and as well as city staff for their continued support of what we do. 2024 looks to be an outstanding year for Trinity Metro. And just two quick notes I'll add. One is the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is happening. Ben, I believe you're going tonight. I'm grateful to be invited to ride in on the opening procession of my first time here, doing that on January 27th. So we have a Trinity Metro crew going that night to have fun at the rodeo.
I'm feeding the horse that you're going to be riding, probably. His name's Dave, so be nice to him.
Dave?
Also, it's the grand entry, so it's not a procession, it's a grand entry. I don't want you to get it hazed like I do.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, wingman. And because you all highlighted my birthday, I want to, as a point of privilege, happy birthday to Chris Nettles. Chris and I share a birthday, so yep, we'll be celebrating. And Mr. Chairman, this concludes my remarks.
Just a couple of comments. I may sound like a broken record on some of these issues, but y'all keep asking me for what can you do to learn and become more educated, and I'm going to share with you again the site, The Overhead Wire by Jeff Wood. It is subscription. It's $150 a year. Trinity Metro will pay you $150 a year. It's everything you wanted to know about transit and urban development, and it's regular, it's podcast, it's consolidation of great articles. So if you can, you have the time, subscribe to that and bring me your bill, and we'll make sure that gets paid. I think it's a wonderful way to keep apprised of the latest and greatest of what's going on in the world. Also want to talk about APTA. Tomorrow there's going to be a meeting with board members regarding talking about the benefits, economic benefits of transit. And I'll get that information to you. It's about 2 o'clock. If there's anything that we're going to do beyond that as a board in the next 2 years, I can't imagine what it is. We're going to have to talk in economic development terms. We had some good information about 2.5 multiple on ROI for what we're doing. That's primarily because we don't have enough transit-oriented development. Once you start getting into transit-oriented development, that number skyrockets. In Kansas City, the manager of the transit system there, the ROI on those transit urban rail goes from 16 to 100, depending upon the kind of development you have around the transit station. So when you can, and I'll get that information to you, it's going to be what we're going to be doing the next 2 years, so take a look at it, and if you can't make that, we'll get we'll copy it for you, because that's what we're going to be doing in a heavy way. Also want to mention APTA continuously. They have a Board of Directors section. Please join it. You just get an email once a week and talks about the current things that are happening, and that's actually where I found out about this session tomorrow. Don't forget Impact Mobility. It's shaping cities through transit, and there isn't anything more important than doing that in this business. So if you can and when you can, go to APTA and go to an Impact Mobility, and there's even a streetcar conference in Charlotte, I think in a few months, and I think that'll be things that we're really going to have to start understanding the economic benefit from. So keep that in mind. Overhead Wire by Jeff Wood, give that a shot. And I think those are my comments. We have a closed session we need to go into. So at this time, we'll go into executive session.
Back out here.
I'll call the session back to order again. It looks like 12 minutes after 5. We're going to go to action item BA 2024-08. Chad, if you'd read that recommendation into the record, we'll vote on it.
Thank you very much. I'm working from 2 different sources here, digital and paper. All right. This is action item BA 2024, TMP Station, West Victory Boulevard Transit-Oriented Development. The recommendation is that Trinity Metro Board of Directors authorizes the President and Chief Executive Officer to enter into a purchase and sale contract with Seiko Ventures for the property located at 200 West Vickery Boulevard in the negotiated dollar amount for a mixed-use development, including retail, residential, and office spaces with accompanying public space, for which Trinity Metro will continue to have beneficial use of the parking until such time construction begins.
That's the motion. Is there any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Now we'll go into BA 2024-09, which is the fiscal year 2024 Executive Incentive Program.
Jeff, one question. On page 2 of the TMP, it says BA 2024-09.
It should be 08.
Yes, there's no issue with.
Let the record be corrected that that first item was correctly described as 08. On the recommendation agenda, it shows to be 09.
Yeah.
On the last page, on the first page, it shows correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, the header. Thank you, Nick. Regarding BA 2024-09, we had these 5 goals enumerated in detail earlier, and I think it was pretty much the consensus of the Trinity Metro Board that all of these goals had been met, and that it would be appropriate to award the maximum amount per goal for the Executive Incentive Program. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second for $10,000 per goal for a total of $50,000. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. We are adjourned.